Your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world, you are watching Now Media Television.
Good evening, everyone. Alina Gonzalez-Dockery, hostess of Purple Politics. An exciting week, to say the least, from fire alarms preventing bills being, for spending bill being passed, to the ouster of our Speaker of the House, McCarthy, first time in history. So we're going to be diving into what are the implications of McCarthy's ouster, the complete halting of all business by the House of Representatives, and the chaos and dysfunction, which is our Republican Party. So stay tuned, and I'll see you here momentarily with more Purple Politics.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez-Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Purple Politics. I am your hostess, Alina Gonzalez-Dockery, where I try to give balanced reporting of latest news. However, I don't know if balance can be brought to what the chaos and dysfunction that is occurring at our nation's capital. I, for one, see all of what that is happening coming out of the House of Representatives as a blight on what the United States used to exemplify. That was diplomacy, democracy, an ability to work together. But what is being shown is a true dysfunctional family, in that you have this blending of a very few loud, temperamental, if you will, children, and with a majority, 96% of the Republican, trying to do what is right, and that is governance. So let's rewind and we'll bring in the highlights. As you may recall of our reporting last week, we were going straight into a government shutdown. Speaker of the House McCarthy pulled off a miracle, a Hail Mary, if you will, to prevent a government shutdown in the last minutes of September 30th, before a full government shutdown would have occurred October 1. And by pulling off this Hail Mary, he avoided a government shutdown, has funding for 45 days to allow the bickering Republicans to get together to try to be able to vote in some appropriations bills. Now, they were able to handle some of the appropriations bills by breaking them down into individual categories. But because of McCarthy's inability to bring the Republicans that have a very small minority together and vote on an appropriations bill, he was forced by Matt Gaetz as the leader of the squad of the Freedom Caucus, and that is not a compliment. Matt Gaetz, who is currently under ethics investigations by Congress, who had an axe to grind against McCarthy from the get-go, from the January. He has taken his role as being this boisterous, outlandish, and yes, I am from Florida. He is one of my representatives, but he doesn't look to what is best for the governance of the people. Because regardless if you are MAGA, you are a Republican, you are a moderate and independent, give kudos to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party does not air their dirty laundry in public. They actually hold true to what their party is going forward. But also, as Newt Gingrich came out, flabbergasted, he was absolutely calling for the not only the censorship, but the ousting of the 5 Freedom Caucus Republicans that sided with the Democrats to oust, for the first time in our history, the Speaker of the House, McCarthy. Representative McCarthy has been seen as always having a positive outlook. He is probably one of the most conservative speakers of the House that we've had, especially since Newt Gingrich's time. But what has our Republican Party come down to? It has illustrated what is occurring in the House of Representatives is you have a power-hungry 5 that wish to rattle the cages, be boisterous, demand that their needs be met, like petulant little children. And they went against 96% of their fellow Republicans and joined and garnered huge accolades from extreme squad members of the Democratic Party, like AOC's and Omar and such, to oust McCarthy and put us in a tailspin. We have less than 40 days before the government shutdown looms. We have an inability by this select few, that many who are up for re-election and are seeing this, much as Nancy Mace, one of the representatives that sided with the Democrats to oust McCarthy, has stated that, yes, she is using this as a campaign ploy. So Gaetz, who has always had a personal vendetta against McCarthy, who is also up for re-election, who some have said has bigger plans in the future to run for governor of the great state of Florida, what this has completely done is shown not only the chaos within and the fracturing within a party, but also that for anyone who goes forward and gets elected as Speaker of the House, they have this group, a very small group percentage, that can hold hostage our government. Because whether our next Speaker of the House is Jim Jordan of Ohio, a second most powerful Republican in the House, someone who is very well respected, and some say Trump would most likely endorse, or even Steve Scalia, representative from Louisiana, he has thrown his name in the hat. First of all, kudos to these 2 gentlemen willing to step up and become a leader of this House, because even though we have an interim Speaker of the House who sole purpose really is to run the House for the purpose of the election of a new speaker, and has effectively thrown Nancy Pelosi while she was at the funeral services for Senator Bernstein, Barbara Feinstein, that this is the only thing that he can do. Our House has completely come to a grinding halt. I mean, put on the emergency brakes, it is a halt. No business can be done. No impeachment inquiries, no subpoenas, no further judiciary committees, no more appropriations bills being able to be even debated. And let's go back to, why is it that when Representative Byron had an incredible appropriations bill that was across the board agreed to with huge cuts and more money to our military and security borders. Why was that not even been able to be brought to the floor for debate? Because of Representative Getz, who blindsided and went after a fellow Florida Republican, a fellow Florida Freedom Caucus member, and completely went against him and refused to allow that to even be debated. Oh, and I am sure I will be blasted being called a rhino or some other scathing, name calling. I mean, my goodness, you have, of all people, Newt Gingrich is now being called a rhino. A former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, who understood the importance of building coalitions and bridging differences with then former President Bill Clinton to help us come out of a recession and to be able to propel our country forward is a rhino, then I will say, for all of you who wish to have a governing body actually looking at what is important for you, what is most important for families who are struggling to buy eggs, who are struggling to pay for utilities, who are depending more and more on credit cards that are at 30% interest, who are not even making it paycheck to paycheck to provide for themselves, who are looking at astronomical interest rates on mortgages and rent increases and car payments. That if this is the governance that you want, then yes, it is time to primary up this faction. Because the reality is no matter if it is a super ultra conservative Speaker of the House or someone who is probably just a Ronald Reagan run-of-the-mill Republican, you are still going to have to face the same challenges that McCarthy has. One, you have to deal with Matt Gaetz and his lovely little squad of 5. You also have to deal with the reality that the Senate is a Democratic Senate. You also have a Democratic-controlled White House. So there has to be negotiations. There has to be diplomacy. There has to be consensus building. But more importantly, let's look at the makeup of both chambers of Congress. They are almost equal, almost 50% each. That is indicative of our American population, our United States of America. About 50% voted for Biden, 50% voted for Trump. There is no clear majority. What does that say to us? What that says is our elected officials need to open their eyes to the reality that you do not represent an extreme position, whether it's an extreme progressive position or an extreme conservative anti-woke position. You are elected to govern. And by governing, that means for all of the people. So as we now go through these uncharted historic moment of the ouster of a conservative Speaker of the House who is now being called a rhino, to calling of a rhino a former very successful Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, though I did not agree with everything, he was successful in the building of bridges to be able to govern our country. Now we are having a new election of a Speaker of the House, which will occur next week. So next week, we will be seeing whether the Republicans can, build together some type of caucus, may be able to mend some fences and be able to show that they are not truly the dysfunctional party of late. So come back to after this commercial break, because I have an important guest, mayoral candidate, MJ Khan, running for City of Houston. He has an enlightened vision for the city and a very fresh way of seeing his role as mayor. And we will be right back.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back to Purple Politics. From the American Capitol, we are now going to be focusing on Houston, Texas, our Lone Star State's beautiful city, where we have a mayoral election coming up. I am honored and thrilled to be joined by MJ Khan, a prominent figure in Houston's political landscape, with such a rich history of public service and community leadership. As a mayoral candidate, MJ Khan brings a wealth of experience and a deep commitment to the city, which he calls home. A former city councilman and an entrepreneur, as well as president and CEO of the Islamic Society of Greater Houston, I am honored to be joined by Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, how are you doing this fine evening?
So thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you for Purple Politics. Thank you, Alina, for giving us this opportunity. And I'm thrilled to be on your show.
Well, my audience would love to know more about your background, especially what inspires you as an entrepreneur and civic leader to jump in the fray of a mayoral election?
Well, I mean, just for my background, I'm originally from Pakistan. I came to this country as a student. We were poor when I came here, and we worked hard, played by the rules, and thanks to the American society, it gave us opportunities beyond our expectation. We succeeded. And I'm in Houston since 1980. 1985, I became the citizen of this country, and since then, I'm giving back to the society, either in public life, private life, non-profit life, and community life. And that's what my motivation is, to give back to the society, make the society better, because we are so blessed in this country and benefited so much. And now I see the city really is going in wrong direction. All the problem we face, the high crime, the infrastructure, the potholes everywhere, the flooding, a little bit of rain, the whole city floods. And I looked at the landscape, other candidates, and I find nobody's providing the solution. So I thought this is what we need to do. I want to run the city. I want to manage the city with private sector management philosophy and conservative fiscal policies. And this is what I believe is needed in the city right now.
Well, and I know that there has been a significant increase in crime in the greater Houston area since the pandemic. That the crime rates have been lowered since the pandemic, but are not even at the same numbers of 2019 and before. So speaking of the infrastructure, what are the key issues that you feel that are most important for the citizens of Houston to know that for not only the change and challenges, but what are your plans to be able to overcome those issues?
Well, first of all, crime is higher compared to 2019, so we cannot compare it with the last year or pandemic year. We have to compare it before pandemic. And it is really affecting, citizens don't feel safe. People are afraid to go to the bank. People are afraid to go to shopping. And everybody is concerned, and the perception of fear and safety issue is what driving people to really be afraid, and many times they are leaving the city, and that's not acceptable. My plan for the crime is I'm going to add $100 million to city budget, HPD budget, Houston Police Department budget, and start adding 500 more police officers, okay, without raising your taxes. We have the money in the city. City is wasting a lot of money. We have money with the metro, which we can transfer. We have money in our tax increment reinvestment zone, which we can transfer. So we have the money. Second thing which I will do is I will have the civilians do the desk job in the police department and have the officers patrol the streets. Third thing which I will do is have police officer enforce all traffic laws, and we will practice community policing. The model I like is what's happening in Dallas right now. We want to copy that model in Houston. We want to make sure that our police chief is the one who believes in fighting crime and tough on crime. We believe in community policing. So that's my plan for police department. For infrastructure, I have a specific plan. Right now, city of Houston is wasting 30 billion gallons of water every year. That's tantamount to about 20% of our water supply. It's about $150 million of wasted water, because of the broken pipes. A little bit of rain, we flood, and there's a tremendous problem, potholes everywhere. We are spending about $220 million for street repairs and drainage. And we will never catch up with that because it's not enough money to catch up. So what I will do, without raising any taxes, I will go to the taxpayers, ask them to allow me to issue a bond using that $220 million as an yearly payment towards that bond. That will yield me about $2.5 billion. And we can use that and do the wholesale repair of our flooding and water and street repair and solve this infrastructure issue.
Which is very important. I mean, I'm from Southwest Florida. We're very prone, as is Texas, to hurricanes, but also, I mean, I used to joke, like, if we had extreme thunderstorms or stuff, my streets where I lived in downtown would flood out and you couldn't get to work. You would see everybody, being kind of trapped in between bridges and things because of the flooding. But it also, not only is it an inconvenience, but it's also deals with health issues because of the mosquitoes and other molds and things. It is very important to have a strong infrastructure to be able to assist that. And being in an area like Houston, which is prone to storms and severe weather patterns, much like Florida. So I can see that, and I find it interesting. So the bond that you are proposing would not be an existing, it would not even increase the taxes that the citizens of Houston
No,
would be paying into.
without raising any taxes, because we have this dedicated fund. It's called Dedicated Drainage and Street Repair Fund. Okay, we have about $220 million, revenues less operating expenses. It should be more because city is supposed to put more money, metro is supposed to put more money. But even the $220 million, that's in the lockbox. That's money will continue to grow as we pay down the other debt. The rest of the money will stay there. So it will not raise any taxes, but I will use that yearly $220 million instead of using that for street repairs. I will use that as a bond payment and get a bond which will yield me about $2.5 billion. And then we can do wholesale repairs and take care of this infrastructure issue once for all. And by the time we do that and the bond is paid, then we will have enough money in this pot to do the yearly repairs.
And that seems like such an incredibly
Novel idea.
a great idea, but ingenious. I would suppose that based on your previous experience being a city councilman, this is how you know of the intricacies of the budgets and what departments and where monies can be pulled to utilize for the best interest of the citizens.
Right. Look, I have an MBA from Rice University. I am expert in finances. I have management experience because I'm a businessman. We deal with the management issue every day. We negotiate with people. We, manage the employees, and it's a leadership position. This is not a legislative position, and that's what sometimes people make a mistake that legislators who are lifelong politicians that they can manage the city, and we have seen them fail time and again. And that's why we need person with the management experience, fiscal expertise, and know-how of the city, and a proven leadership. And that's what I bring to the table.
Okay. And then Houston has such a diverse population of many, it's a very multicultural city. And how do you plan, sometimes based on the different cultural beliefs and strategies, there sometimes can be a bit of conflict or challenges in dealing with this. How would you be able to represent all of the multifaceted population that is in Houston?
Well, first of all, we celebrate our diversity, okay? And our diversity is our strength. And we have not, look at Houston. Whenever Astros win the World Series, we don't trash the city. When we have a power failure due to ERCOT, like last year, year ago, there was a freeze and we lost power for several weeks, literally. We don't go and start looting. So our citizenry is very respectable, very important. We celebrate our diversity. And I represented the Southwest Houston, which is the most diverse district in the city, okay, at that time. And I always used to say, what is my district F, it is called, is what Houston will be tomorrow and what America will be in few decades, okay? We have a very diverse population in that district, both Hispanics, Blacks, Whites, Asians, so that's really, and that's what when I served that district, F, constituents used to feel that F stands for Forgotten District. By the time I left 6 years later, they all believe that F is standing for First District, thanks to my mayor and council colleague that they approved the project. So we served the community very well. And I brought the community together to really make District F a model of how citizens should enjoy each other, work with each other, enjoy each other custom, languages, and culinary, and all kinds of things. And that's what I bring to the table. And that's what we will do for Houston. Houston should be and will be a model for rest of the country as to how diverse population can come together and celebrate and make the society better for everybody.
Well, and thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for that wonderful response. We are going to cut to a commercial break, but stay tuned and return to Purple Politics, where we're going to dive in deeper with mayoral candidate MJ Khan and his plan to bring Houston not only out of the post-pandemic era, but into the future. And we will be right back.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Welcome back to Purple Politics, where I am joined by City of Houston mayoral candidate MJ Khan. Mr. Khan, Houston being such a large city, obviously you have a pool of opponents running for the same position. What differentiates you from your fellow candidates?
My management experience, my financial expertise, my knowledge of the city, my proven leadership, but most importantly, I'm known as an honest person and ethical person. My ethical standards are highest. I will manage the city with highest ethical standards. I think that's what's missing in the city. If you look at the city of Houston, we have bloated bureaucracy, mismanagement of the city, and tremendous influence of a special interest in the city. And that's what wasting your tax dollars. I can give you examples after example. We have in Galleria, we have a BRT line. That's a $200 million project, which was done promising the taxpayer that 15,000 people will ride every day. Now only 944 people ride on that. Some contractors became very rich with that $200 million. And did anybody was held accountable? No. That's what we need to change. Right now, we are doing affordable housing project, 350 square feet units, which is like a cubby hole, right? Each unit is costing taxpayers about $300,000. I can buy, single family homes for less than $300,000 for these 149 people. So that is the kind of thing which is happening. And that's why I'm different than other candidates. Some of the candidates are lifelong legislators, and they have really problem with ethical issues. Their ethical standard seems to be, what can I get away with? So if somebody in legislature for 50 years and they have become an expert how to push the limits on conflicts of interest, that's not what we need in the city. What we need in the city is people with highest ethical standard. Because look, At the end of the day, Mayor of Houston is the chief executive officer, but it's also a leadership position. Mayor of Houston is supposed to unite the whole city and work with other entities like county, Harris County, school board, metro, state, leaders, federal leaders, to bring the city resources to make the quality of life better for everybody. And that leadership skill is what differentiates me compared to the other candidates.
Well, and especially, let's put it this way, when the world is looking at the United States and with the what I call the three-ring circus that is occurring in our capital, but and you see it in other states, it, at least as for myself, a constituent and a very proud American and love my city and my state and stuff, I want a representative that is there that will improve the circumstances that we are currently living in, because we have to look forward to our future for our children and beyond. But also, there is so much, what some would say, corruption, because of that thin line between going through, helping and assisting the lobbyists gain like that railway. And trust me, we had our own little boondoggle of a rail being purchased here. So that is such a balance. But Houston being such a large city, an integral part of the economics of not only for the city's economic growth and experience, but also for the state, how do you see the mayoral position of leadership, CEO, doing that fine balance between working with state, county, but also national? Because you do have that effect, especially with the space.
I mean, look, you're right. In the big picture, we have seen that our politics is really broken right now. Whether you look at, federal, state level, I always used to joke that our system is government of the people, by the people, for the people. It appears that our Congress is like government of the lobbyists, by the lobbyists, and for the lobbyists. My history is I have never catered to special interest. Okay. When I was in the city council, I will not even meet with the lobbyists. I will have them, okay, if you really have something, just you can meet with my staff and present your point of view. I am not beholden to anybody. None of these special interests and lobbyists are giving me campaign dollars. My campaign funds are coming from average Houstonians. And I'm proud to say that most of my campaign dollars are like $2, $5 from cities of Houston, which have suffered a lot. Look, Houston has gone through, Hurricane Harvey. Houston has gone through pandemic like everybody else. And now this horrible inflation is breaking Houston's back. And that's where you need somebody who works for the citizens of Houston and is only beholden to the citizens of Houston in search of a special interest. Also, I have a history. When I was a city council member, of course, I am a conservative member, and I was conservative member then. I worked with the Democratic mayor and my colleagues, many of them were Democrats and, progressive, liberals, whatever we call them. But we worked very well because for me, politics is over after the election and governing should begin. You should never let politics come in the way after once you're in the elected office, because that's what breaks the system. And what I do when I deal with people, when I negotiate with people, when I am talking with my colleagues about getting some resources for the district which I represented, and this is what I will do for citizens of Houston, I let the merit of my position do the convincing rather than politics of my position do the convincing. And that brings tremendous results because people can overcome the politics if they trust the person who bringing the issue in front of them. And if it makes logical sense, then we can get things done.
Mr. Khan, I just want to take that one blurb that you just stated of how politics ends on the date that you are elected and it's about governance, and shout that out to every place, because that is something that is the unfortunate situation that is our electoral process, because people now are, once they get elected, they're already working on their next campaign, and they forget that especially in a city as diverse as Houston and as large. I mean, this is a big city. We're not talking about a small little town. I mean, it's a big city. It has diversity. It has a huge economic impact, not only locally, but throughout, nationwide, that it's about coming together, building the consensus, doing what is best for the Houstonians, and that growth for the city overall. And speaking of that, we are all facing inflation, whether they want to call it inflation or not. I mean, it's the average family is literally depending more and more on credit cards to cover for the bills, but also being able to buy groceries, things of that nature. You have rents that are through the roof. The mortgage payments now are an average $2,000 because we're looking at a 7.5 percentage points of interest if you have good credit. What is your economic development plan for the city and for the benefit of your citizens?
Number one, I will not raise your taxes. A lot of these candidates, almost all the other candidates, are on record saying that we are under revenue cap. We cannot collect more money from property taxes over and above inflation and population growth, right? Most of the other candidates are on record saying that we will do away with the revenue cap and get more money from your pockets. I'm totally against that because of the very factor which you just mentioned. Inflation breaking people back. People are still, going through the consequences of Hurricane Harvey and pandemic. So my business plan is this. I will make sure that we expand our business base, make City of Houston business-friendly city. Right now, it is not. So once we take care of the core services like public safety, infrastructure, flooding, potholes, things. Once we clean up the city from the influence of a special interest and make the city bureaucracy work efficiently, permit department is a horrible mess. Sometimes it takes years for people to get the permit to do their projects. Once we streamline all that, and once we work with, for example, the school board and the county and work together, because what is why some cities are called great cities? It is because the city works for the people, city is safe to live in, city has a friendly atmosphere, schools are good, and business opportunities are easy for new entrants to go and conduct their businesses. So we have to work together with all these people. Once we expand our employment base, what I'm looking for is people will get better paying jobs and they will not be burdened by this inflation as much as they're burdening now. Right now, what we see, our employment base is shrinking and our need for affordable housing is increasing. That's a wrong picture. What I want to do is employment base to increase so people get better jobs, more, better paying jobs, and people come out of this poverty level and move up on the society to the middle class. That's what I want. I want people to be entrepreneurs. I also have a plan to start a microcredit program for some areas which are historically, left behind area part of town. Some communities are, leaving behind. These are mostly Black and brown communities. I want to start a microcredit program to start entrepreneurship by those people so they can become the CEOs of their businesses. That's how we take care of this inflation problem. But I will not raise the taxes. That's my promise. And that's my history also.
Well, and again, it is so enlightening to see that your plan is so eloquent, but it seems so common sense. Like, why burden more people by taking away what they, by taxing them? And building that ability to have a better business base and such also depends on a strong educational system in Houston, which is something I want to dive into when we come back from this commercial break. Again, this is Purple Politics. I am joined by Mr. Khan, mayoral candidate of Houston. We will be right back where he'll answer more of our questions on the impact of good education and improving our base for a brighter future.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back to Purple Politics, where I am joined by MJ Khan, candidate for mayor of the great city of Houston. We left off our last segment with me wanting to dive into the educational system and challenges that are faced by families with young children, or school-age children, I should say, in Houston. What do you feel is the biggest challenge or issue that needs to be addressed by you as mayor and the city council?
Well, I think that as citizens, our number one priority in the society, and that takes care over and above everything else, is the education of our young people, because they are the future of our society. And the society will not function well and will not be the greatest society which we have unless we educate our young people to the best possible. And not everybody gonna be a doctor, or not everybody gonna be this or that, but they will find their own niche in life. They will find their own expertise. Our duty as a society and the leaders of the society is to provide them opportunities to get the best education. And now, as you may have heard, Houston School District has been taken over by the state because of the failing schools, whatever. Now, the politics of that aside, it is an embarrassment for Houstonians that we could not take care of our schools ourselves, and the state has to come and take it over. So I want to do away with it. I will work with the state to make sure that HISD, our school districts, goes back to the elected school board, and I will work with them. And I want these our young people to be educated, not just for jobs, but also for like entrepreneurs, business people, thinkers, philosophers, making the society, leading the society in the right direction, either with their, leadership in business or leadership in public life, or being a great poet or philosopher, and motivating people to be better for everybody else. That's what I want to do. So education is the key, and mayor does not have any direct control of education, but mayor is a power of influence also. Mayor is the leader who is supposed to bring all factions of the society together. So I will work at the school board, and I will make sure that our students are treated in the most honorable manner. Our kids needs to be loved, and they need to be taken care of, and that's what I want to do. And if there is anything which we can do, like after school programs and things like that, I will make sure that once we take care of the core problem we are facing right now, that we invest heavily in those areas to make the quality of life of our students better.
Well, I, for one, always believe that there is actually a triangle of major issues or factions, I should say, that affect a family and then once we deal with the family, which strengthens a community, and that's income, education, and well-being, which is health and climate changes. And that is obviously something that has been very much discussed. We both live in areas that are prone to hurricanes and other extreme weather. So knowing that many people, especially our younger generations, are so affected and interested in what is happening with our climate change and stuff, how does the city of Houston go forward and try to be a little bit more green, if you will, in promoting more climate-based industry and such, but also maintaining the infrastructure and basic services that the citizens deserve?
I look at any issue as how am I affected by that issue. So I make it personal before I find the solution to that. Would I like to live next to a toxic dump? No. Would I like to live in an environment which is polluted, air quality is bad, and no green space, and no place for my grandkids to play? No. So if I don't want that for myself, then I make sure that I don't want that for anybody else. So environmental quality of life is greatly dependent on the clean air, clean water, and green space. And we need to invest very heavily in that. When I was a member of City Council, I represented the Southwest Houston, A-Leaf area, which was green space poor area of the town. We make sure that we got a new park in that district because that's what's needed. So yes, there right now, City of Houston is building an affordable housing project next to a toxic dump. And I say, how can you do that? Don't you have any compassion for these people who will be living there? First of all, they are poor. Secondly, you put them next to a toxic dump. That should not be acceptable. So yes, environmental is the key. And our young people are sometimes disillusioned because they see their elected official not caring about the issues which are important to them. What is important to the young people? Education, environment, job opportunities, business opportunities. And that's why I need to create like economic hubs and research centers. So these young people use their talents and make the world better by their skills. And I think that green space, environment, school, education, these are all connected. And you're absolutely right. This triangle of economic prosperity of a family, the health issue of the family, and the quality of life, these three things have to work together. And we need to focus as leaders on all three things to make it better for our citizens.
Well, absolutely, because the strengthening of the family, because this is what a city is made up of, is the family. So if we break it down to the individual, the stronger the foundation is that we set upon a family, the stronger our communities are. And that promotes even better and strengthening futures for our cities and states and our nation. I mean, these are the backbone of what has created great societies such as Houston and other great cities. And I said this off the camera. It's such a fresh breath of air to talk to you, because it's not about the politics. It's not about the special interest or the lobbyist or the gain. It's more of the focus is on the citizen. It is the focus on the family members. And I also applaud you because you are the American dream. I mean, an immigrant that comes to our country, poor, and was able to enjoy a good education and build a company. That is something to be, applauded, because we need more of those examples and people who are selfless and giving back to their communities. Mr. Khan, please tell us how our fellow Houstonians can get a hold of you, whether it's to ask you questions, donate to your campaign, provide support for your campaign.
I would rather have 1,000 people giving me $5 each than one person giving me $5,000, which is the limit. I mean it because it's a grassroots campaign. I want citizens of Houston to join the campaign. You can go to my website, www.mjkhan.com. You can log in as a volunteer. You can sign up as needing my yard signs or helping in the campaign, especially young people, millennials, Gen X, Gen Zs, come on board. We need you to make this city better for everybody. My cell number is on my website, 713-398-4829. Feel free to call me. During my tenure in the city council, I made sure that my constituents had my cell number. I answer my phone, and if I'm busy, I make sure that I answer my phone at the first opportunity. But look, this campaign, like I said, it's a grassroots campaign. It is to find the solution and serve the people. Look, like I said, nobody has ever questioned my integrity, my honesty, and my ethical standards. That's what I bring to the table. And when we do that, we can really focus on providing the services to the citizens of Houston rather than catering to special interests. There are candidates who are getting a lot of money from the special interest. And why? Because they special interest, these pay-to-play contractors, they know that they support their candidates, give them money, and then City Hall becomes really a conduit of money coming out of taxpayers' pocket and going to the special interest bank account. That's what we need to stop. And young people out there listening to this, if you're from any community, if you're white, black, brown, Asian, come on board because in MJ Khan, you can find a mayor with highest ethical standards who will be serving you and will be responsible and answerable to you. We'll make sure that City Hall is transparent. City Hall is, working with high ethical standards and only to serve you. And that's what I am there. That's why I'm running for this position. And I love to have everybody on board.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for coming up on my show and giving such an enlightening interview. You, again, have really just touched the core of what I truly believe is missing in our current political climate, and that is leadership, building consensus to really go for what is important, and that is serving the people and building the foundation of our citizenship. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alina. You have been a great host. I really enjoyed it. You're very smart, and I would love to have you for a cup of coffee next time when you're in Houston. Thanks to all your team to giving this opportunity, and I look forward to it. And hopefully, we will celebrate. The Houston will celebrate on 7th of November with MJ Khan as your mayor.
Well, good luck to you on your candidacy, and I will definitely be keeping in touch.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. So, a nice brighter point of leaving the show than where we started it, where we have chaos on the Capitol. We have a Republican Party that is so extremely dysfunctional to the point that former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is saying that the squad of 7 should be thrown out for heresy. Then to speak to someone like MJ Khan, who is the embodiment of the American dream, who has sacrificed and continues to show his dedication to improving and bettering his adopted hometown of, I'm guessing, over 40 years now, of Houston. It really comes down to that. This is what Purple Politics is about. It's leaving the monikers that we carry because of who we align with politically or how we register. It's about reaching across the aisles, building that consensus, because ultimately, regardless of what it may seem in the media, this is about us. It's about our future. It's about our families, our children, how we can continue what generations have built for us to strengthen that foundation and to grow that going forward. So thank you for tuning in to Purple Politics. I look forward to seeing you next week, where we're just going to go with the tides of what happens. We're going to have a new Speaker of the House, hopefully, so we'll be able to talk about that. And we'll be diving into more of what is happening locally as well as internationally.